Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of FightBackMedia.com, the number one source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, welcome back to Fight Back Media's Morning Report, where we break down the stories of the mainstream that the mainstream media will not touch. Today, we're diving into the case of judicial overreach and misinformation, one that could shake up the legal battle over foreign aid and presidential authority. This week, a federal judge, Theodore D. Chong, an Obama appointee, issued a ruling that restricts President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, which seems to be the big deal with everything right now, from further dismantling the now defunct United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. But there's one major problem. Judge Chong's entire ruling is based on something that isn't true. The judge claims that the USAID was created by Congress and therefore cannot be shut down by the executive branch by itself. The reality is that isn't true. What? It's not true. The agency was established by an executive order from President John Fitzgerald Kennedy back in 1961, when your host was just a mere babe. Congress later provided funding and an official mention in law, but it never created USAID as an independent entity with protections against executive restructuring, which means that President Trump has every legal right to consolidate and reassign its functions. So, why does that matter? Well, Judge Chong's ruling could set a dangerous precedent where courts interfere with the president's clear constitutional authority over executive agencies. It also raises the question, what was this, an honest mistake or an intentional effort to undermine Trump's policy agenda? Let's not forget, this fight isn't just about USAID. It's about whether unelected judges can override the decisions of a duly elected president. If this ruling stands, what's next? Will courts claim the president can't reorganize other executive agencies? This is lawfare at its finest. Using the courts to block policies that the establishment doesn't like. As this legal battle unfolds, one thing is clear, though. The fight for constitutional governance is far from over. And we will be watching closely. All right, here we go. Here's another one. And it is a doozy. Doozy, I tell you. George Soros, you know George, and his left-wing machine are turning on none other than Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. You know, we've said here on this program a bunch of times, if you happen to step out of line, the machine that has given you everything will eat you. And now George Soros, one of the people who has funded the left in America and around the world, is now turning on Chuck Schumer. Wow. The same radical activists who propped up the Democrat Party for years are now working to push Schumer into retirement. Why? Why? Because he dared to vote with Republicans to keep the government open. Leading the charge is Indivisible, a far left activist group that has raked in over $7.6 million from the Soros Open Society Foundation since 2017. Over the weekend, Indivisible held a virtual event encouraging activists to send retirement cards to Schumer, signaling their demand that he step down as the party's Senate leader. Ezra Levine, co-director of Indivisible, accused Schumer of waving the white flag of surrender by allowing the passage of the GOP-backed funding bill. He even went as far as to claim that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are leading an administrative coup, calling it a constitutional crisis. They use that term so much. It's a constitutional crisis. It's interesting that they haven't given a crap about the Constitution until now, I guess. As a matter of fact, Barack Obama thought that the Constitution was an encumbrament, a stumbling block to do what he wanted to do. And now we're worried about a constitutional crisis. You want a constitutional crisis? Let us call an Article 5 convention. Is that what you want? You want an Article 5 convention? We could do that. Do that. And then you'll have a crisis on your hands. I guarantee it. Anyway, so let's pause right there. When the radical left starts eating their own, you know things are getting interesting. The movement is to unseat Schumer isn't a fringe effort. Indivisible is mobilizing its network to pressure Democrat lawmakers, planning at least 17 town halls across the country where Schumer's leadership will be called into question. And according to their own data, 82% of Indivisible leaders in New York and a staggering 91% nationwide want Schumer out. Now, this raises a bigger question. Who actually runs the Democrat Party? Schumer or Soros? A Trump administration official recently asked this exact question. And let's not forget that even the National Republican Congressional Committee has noticed this shift, with spokesman Emily Tuttle stating that it is painfully obvious that Soros doesn't believe Schumer or House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have a backbone to lead. So, what does this mean for 2024 and beyond? If the far left is willing to take out one of their own top leaders, they're signaling that they want total control. And if Schumer isn't radical enough for them, just imagine who they'll try to replace him with. We have seen AOC and Bernie Sanders on I don't want to say on the campaign trail, but they've been out there. Please, Bernie Sanders, AOC, please run them. Please. Can you imagine Bernie Sanders and AOC? I could become president. Some of y'all wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. All right, let's finish up. President Donald Trump has expressed enthusiasm about the United States potentially joining something called the Commonwealth of Nations. What? He's selling our sovereignty. Wait, you're going to hear that. The thing is called the Commonwealth of Nations. It is led by King Charles III. According to reports, during his upcoming visit to the United Kingdom, President Trump may be presented with an offer from King Charles to join the Commonwealth as a, quote, associate member. The Commonwealth is a voluntary organization with 56 independent countries, many of which are former British colonies, aiming to promote democracy, human rights, and economic cooperation among its members. Notably, some countries without historical ties to the British Empire, such as Mozambique and Rwanda, have joined the Commonwealth in the past. Responding to these reports, President Trump took to social media stating, "I love King Charles. Sounds good to me." This statement underscores his positive reception to the idea. But what would, and I want to get to this first, we're going to try to get ahead of this. So what would U.S. membership in the Commonwealth mean? Well, strategically, it could strengthen ties with allied nations like the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, reinforcing that special relationship and enhancing cooperation on global issues. Additionally, it could serve as a counterbalance to China's growing influence, particularly in Africa, where 21 Commonwealth nations are located. However, it's essential to note that while the president has expressed interest, formal membership would require extensive discussions and agreements. The Commonwealth operates on consensus, and all existing members would need to agree to any new admissions. So as the story develops, we're going to keep you informed on the implications for that in U.S. foreign policy and all the international relations. Now, we're going to hear all sorts of things in the meantime, but that's all this means. We are a long way from anything of any note developing from this particular story. We're a long way away. Again, all the countries that are in the Commonwealth it's like a fraternity. Everybody's got to put in a white marble. If there's one black marble, and for those of you who've been in fraternities and sororities, you know what I'm talking about. If there's a black marble, then the new person or the new country can't get in. I don't know. There may be a black marble, but we're not even there yet. A lot going on, huh? Anyway, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.